Hey everybody, it's Lacey,
And I'm Lauren.
and welcome to another episode of the Lawmas Podcast.
And if you're watching us on YouTube or you can see us, I apologize. I look like death eating a moon pie because I'm tired.
Death eating a moon pie?
That
I've
means
never heard that in my life.
That's what my grandpa always said when you look back.
You and Randy, your uncle, and the sayings that you that sounded like something Randy would say.
No, that's from my grandpa. We got different sayings from different people. That was my grandpa used to always say that one. Do you remember in college when I said the pot calling the kettle black and Myra could not comprehend what that meant?
No.
She's like, why is the pot black? And I was like, I don't know. That's just
That's a normal saying, though, not death eating a moon pie.
Well, my family has some weird ones, and we just accept it.
Well, pie calling the kettle black is not your family, though.
No, that's one.
Yeah.
Well, one of Randy's sayings, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
I know that one.
Sheldon said that on The Big Bang Theory.
What?
It is a real saying.
Which episode?
I don't remember. I think it was a Christmas one.
If you find out, you gotta let me know.
Literally, Sheldon said it on The Big Bang Theory.
Okay. I give Randy a little extra credit with his sayings now.
Some of them are legit. Maybe not go on cabbage, you got the head, but So anyways, there's been a lot of talk lately because Susan Smith is going to be up for parole again.
Lord
so I kind of wanted to know, like, why and how. Like, because we just talked about this not long ago and she was denied. So, like, why can she be up again? I thought it was like every 5 years or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just came up with that out of nowhere. But like that process.
And the thing is the laws have changed since then. So I don't know what the laws were in the 90s regarding parole and a murder conviction. So I'd have to go back and look. But because I saw the date of her next hearing and the date of her last, they're almost exactly 2 years apart. My assumption is that she can apply, I'm guessing a year or a year and a half after she is denied from the first one, and then they schedule it. So that way, it's 2 years the hearings are.
So is there any cap on how many times you can file for parole, or is it just as much as you want?
As much as you want. And, the thing is I think parole is a great thing and appropriate in many circumstances. Think about, I remember this juvenile case I watched years ago, and this kid was with a bunch of other kids. They were 16, 17 years old. They broke into a house to get pennies for weed, and the homeowner shot one of them. And so everybody was charged with felony murder and convicted and got life sentences. That doesn't make sense. To me, that's not, they didn't have guns or firearms. And yes, the homeowner acted within his right and shot one, and that's a tragedy. But to punish a 16-year-old who didn't shoot anyone was just part of the felony, and breaking into this house for weed is just bizarre. In the case like that, I can understand parole on a murder. I think most people would agree with that, right? But Susan Smith is so drastically different. And it's just wild to me that guy doesn't get parole because the state he's in and the laws being different since then, and Susan Smith gets to apply every, seems like 2 years. But she's not going to get it. Our parole board is very conservative. They deny most of their paroles. They deny most of their pardon hearings. It's very hard to get. We have one of the lowest parole records in the country, or people getting paroled. So it's not going to work. I don't understand. I'm wondering if she's got an attorney again, the same one, but I wouldn't waste my money.
Well, that's enough. Okay, I have 2 other questions from this. Okay, first one. So does the parole board have to hear every case? Are they like the Supreme Court, pick and choose? Or if you are eligible for parole and you bring the petition or however you do it, must they hear it?
Yeah, they do have to hear it. Just like every pardon, they have to hear. Even if it's just terrible and they know they're not going to grant it, they've got to, hear it and make a decision on it.
I just wasn't sure. For those of you that don't know, the Supreme Court doesn't hear every case that's brought in front of it. Most of you
You
probably know that,
petition for
but
them to hear it.
they get about thousands and thousands and thousands, and only hear, I believe, 10% of what they get in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely, um, a lot of them probably never even hit the actual Supreme Court justices. It probably hits their clerks and they like weed them out. So I didn't know if
Yeah.
parole had some authority like that. Also, how do you pay for this? Because literally, if you're sitting in prison, how you got any money? Because I'm not trying to be rude, but Susan Smith wasn't rich before she went into jail. She's from Union. We're poor people there. So, like, how's she paying this?
It has to be her family or friends. She did have that little old couple that spoke on her behalf. They could pay an attorney.
I mean, but like typically attorneys don't do these type things, especially for her. I imagine her attorney's getting paid. He's probably not doing this pro bono. This isn't one of
Right.
the like wrongly convicted. And I don't think Kim K is like on the case trying to
No.
help her.
Kim K ain't coming to this, Susan. Sorry. Not
I mean,
sorry.
I just wondered because so many, I guess in general, like, what do you do? Just rely on your family to be able, can you ever get
Yeah.
like a public defender for parole? Like, how
I
does
don't
that work?
think, no, I don't believe so. No, you're not entitled to an attorney for a pardon hearing or a parole hearing.
But can you bring them pro se, like on your
Yes.
own?
Yes.
You
And I
can
believe
do it
most
yourself.
parole hearings are pro se.
But
And I only say that based on my own experience because I haven't gotten a ton. I get a good bit of pardons. And even then, it's not a chunk. I mean, I maybe do 2 or 3 a year, if that.
so most people do their parole themselves because even if you have no like
Yeah.
income, you
Yeah.
are not guaranteed you because I guess because it's not a trial, you don't have a
Yeah.
constitutional right to an attorney.
And so there's a checklist for that the board works. Like it's in the statute that they look at when determining whether somebody gets parole. So there's elements that they look, and one is being accepted back into the community. And honey, she ain't getting that. Nobody accepting her back.
That's why like I knew this was happening because like literally Facebook was like lit up with
Yeah.
that about is she gonna get why is she getting this? So that's one of the reasons I wanted to address it because um a lot of
Right.
us don't understand. But I mean
The
now we know.
the one thing that angers me the most is you're putting these relatives through it again this fast. And I don't
Right.
think the parole board's going to like it.
Well, I don't think anything was gonna be different. Like they
Nothing.
all
There's
just
nothing that's changed
nothing has
within.
changed. So
Mm-mm.
like
We still don't like you.
I don't understand what the I mean, I don't know. I guess if I was in jail for life, what does it hurt to keep bringing it? But then at the
True.
same point, the way I look at it too, though, is if you bring it all the time, the parole board's never going to grant it because you're never going to have a true change in circumstances. So, like
Right.
bringing it once every longer period, like I get her bringing it the last time because that was her first time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw that was going on,
It's
so I just
annoying.
kind of wanted some clarity about Susan Smith and
And
all
it's
of that.
I don't think she should be able to do this. No, but I do think there's circumstances in which parole maybe would be appropriate in a murder. Like the example I just gave. So it just really sucks that her case changed the law. And yes, I disagree that she's able to, and I don't know how you structure that in changing the law to make it more fair. Because I do think there should be more things that are parole eligible. We should look at different factors. I think age just plays such a big part too. Like if somebody's young and does something, we have to take that into account. Especially if there's, nobody did die and it was just something really stupid. But anyways, I wish more things were parole eligible, and I wish our parole board had a higher rate of parole, letting people out on parole. But I don't like this system with her. I don't like that she's able to apply this soon after and put the family through what they are going for. It's just like, I don't know how you structure that in a law.
Yeah, and I
So,
mean, there's no doubt of what she did was
right.
truly heinous. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but I just saw that pop up and I was like, I'm guessing people have questions. And Susan Smith is always going to be one of those people that you hear about because she
Yeah.
changed our laws. She also was a truly heinous crime. One other question. Can you get hair color in jail?
I don't think so.
Well, I just noticed her picture. She didn't look. I'm gonna go look again, but she didn't look bad in her picture, and I didn't. It kind of looked like she had dyed her hair, so I didn't know if
I think they try to come up with stuff.
like to be able to like
Dye your hair. Yeah. Like watch Orange is the New Black.
I did not, but like I just pulled up the picture they have for her, and she has on makeup and everything.
I know, I've seen that too, and I don't think they're supposed to have that either. I'm
And
not
she
sure.
always,
But you know what? I'm going to Camille Graham soon. And I will ask the guards.
because she looks pretty good in her
Yeah.
picture. I
Yeah.
mean, like she just has a little gray up here, but all this is dark.
Huh. Yeah.
And then
Is she
like
at Camille Graham?
I have no idea where she is, but she actively has on eyeliner. You can 100% tell she has on eyeliner, and they did not do tattooed eyeliner back in her day. So it's not like she has permanent makeup and it would have done wore off at this point. Yeah, she just looks pretty good in her picture compared to what
She
she last looked
is.
like.
No, she's in Leith. Oh, I knew that. I knew she was in Leith. But still, it should be the same rules. I'll ask the guards. We'll find out. I will get y'all an answer. Trust. So we'll find out what they're allowed as far as beauty items.
I do know you're not giving free pads and tampons in there, which I think is pretty messed up.
That is just terrible.
I mean, like you can't help having a period. Like
No.
that's
No.
something that you should. I mean, do I think that you should be able to pick the brands and have like the luxury lines or have like certain different things? No, but I think you should be given the bare minimum
Right.
of some type of sanitary products.
Yeah. Agreed. So we're going to talk about gaslighting today. I told Lauren I watched this I listened to this podcast, and I feel like the episode I listened to last, every woman that is in their young 20s should listen to it, so that way they are just aware of every type of gaslighting there is. So listen to Crime Junkie podcast, and there was an episode on this guy named Dave, and he was they were suspicious of him and killing his business partner. So they had this business like plumbing or heating and air, I can't remember. But anyways, these two men came in and murdered his business partner. He was there, and it was just real sketchy. And it turns out he had like an $8 million life insurance policy on his business partner. So he got that. And so
And you're allowed to have a life insurance policy on your business partner, by the way. That is completely legal. On life insurance, just so you know, you can only have a policy on people you have a valid interest in their life. You can't just randomly go get policies on people. And a business partner is one of those non-family, like me and my law partner have life insurance policies on each other.
Same. But it was like, anyways, there's a bunch of sketchy stuff, and you can go listen to this if you want to. So at the end of the episode, they're like, this isn't the only murder that he's involved in. His first wife died mysteriously. So it turns out his wife, they were separated because she found out he had a whole nother family. And so they go through telling the story, right? And they had requested documents and audios because there was an audio apparently from when she confronted him.
What year was this? Like
2013.
Okay.
So the business partner murder was in like 2020, and then the wife was in 2013. So after they released the episode, and her name was Laura Sweetman, the victim that was the first wife. After the first episode, the police finally released this audio. So they had like this hour-long audio of her and him. So he took their 3 kids to a tournament over the weekend. She had found out about this other kid, and that he had with someone else, and they'd been together 20 something years. And so she moved out while he was gone. And she was a pediatrician. And so once she got the kids back, she dropped them off with a friend, and then a friend was a cop. So that's why the audio was so clear. And then she went over there to tell them, like, hey, you notice my stuff is gone. This is why. So she goes over there and she's like, hey, I know about your other child and I've left, and he's like, don't do this to me. Don't leave me. I love you. And she's like, I can't stay here. Like, I just, I know about who told you? Who told you? Which one of my friends don't care about me and told you? So it's like, seriously? You're blaming your friends for this? And so then he's like, do you not love, he's like, actually, I've loved you this whole time. Since all this happened, I've loved you and you haven't loved me. You don't love me, do you? You haven't loved me. You haven't shown me love. And it's like, you had a whole nother kid with someone else. And he just keeps throwing it on her not loving him. And then she's like, she says, what is she? Oh, then he accuses her of being with you. You're with someone else, right? Oh yeah, you have to be with somebody else because it was men that came into this house and moved your stuff. Who are you seeing? And she's like, I'm not seeing anybody. Like, this isn't about that. I'm really depressed and unhappy. And so she's just like, I just don't think that, I want a co-parent relationship. And so then he goes he's like, oh, you're going to take my kids away? And she goes, no, like, we're going to co-parent our kids. We're going to be there, at the wrestling. I want to be there together tomorrow at the wrestling match. Like, I want to work, the kids out with you and stuff. He goes, no, you're taking my kids away from me. He was like, when kids come from broken homes, they never turn out right. And it's your fault because you're the one leaving. And it's like, what? So she's trying to be so nice in this episode. And she's even saying, like, this other kid, you need to have a relationship with him. And he goes, I tried to abort it. This is that other girl's fault because she wouldn't abort the baby. I told her to abort it. So this isn't my fault because I told her to get rid of it. And it was just, seriously, the whole episode was like that. And at the end, she's like, he again brings up the kids and she's like, well, when do you want them? And he goes, I want them this week. And she goes, okay, I will bring them to you this week and I'll get them this weekend. And he's like, no, I want them all the time. You said I could have them whenever I want. And she's like, I mean, yeah, but I get them too. Like, we have to meet 50-50. And he goes, well, that's not what you said. So now you've lied to me. So you are taking my kids away. And it was just everything she said, he just like threw it on her when he was the one that had an affair and had an almost 2-year-old son that she didn't know about. And he had even taken their baby stuff to her. She found photos of like the woman rocking the baby, like in her rocking chair that she rocked their kids in and stuff like that. And then apparently, like, they were broke because he kept making bad business deals. She had like $400,000 in tax debt is what they were saying in the audio. And she was scared of that. And he, was like, oh, I'm about to get $30,000. I'm about to get this. Just please stay. And he's like, I need help. Clearly I need help. And she's like, I'm, here. I hope you get help. Like, we're tied together forever because of our kids. And he's like, oh, you're not staying though if I get help? And she's like, I can't stay. Like, you have a baby with someone else. Like, I can't stay. And then he just flip out on her again. But it was just the most gaslighting thing. And I don't know how she stayed so calm. She literally stayed calm the whole time and was like, I want you to have a relationship with this baby. Like, that's our kid's brother. And just so nice. And she would try to leave and like, okay, I'm done and leaving. He'd choke her and pull her back into the house. And that's where he got arrested for the domestic. And then she later was found dead in her bathtub. But how would you, I guess, handle that? Like, I could not stay as calm. I know that.
If I found out my husband had a kid with somebody else, I'd be gone. Like, that's not something I could work through. I mean, like, I would have enough issues if my husband had an affair trying to work through that. But the fact that there's a child from it, and I probably would have just left.
Just like you did, yeah.
I probably wouldn't have cared. And I'm not going to lie. I would call the 4 best attorneys here in Spartanburg that do family law, make consults with them so my husband could not get them. That's not the right thing to do, but I don't care. I would do it.
I love that.
The consult fees. I already know who I called to. I got my list of 4 attorneys, and I talked to them on the reg, so they wouldn't want to take my husband off. I mean, I don't think we're getting divorced, but I'm just saying, I got my list. They know me. We're good.
I
And
love
I
that
probably
level of petty that like you would go to the top lawyer and get a consult so he's conflicted out. I I never even thought
no
about that.
shame,
That's
no
hilarious.
shame. I would do that, and I probably wouldn't talk to him. But I'm at a stage in my life where I don't think I probably would have handled it differently in my 20s. I definitely would have.
Mhm.
Like, and I think it also depends. Like, I'm in a stage in my life where I don't need a man. Like, I love my husband, but if we were to get divorced, I don't really care. I might date again when I'm like Dorothy and Rose's age and just be in it for the fun of dating, but not
Same.
to like go to marriage. I guess also my world has jaded me because I see how bad second marriages go and all this estate planning and drama and crap.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I would be in a different state. But I would say in my 20s, I would definitely probably have been different.
Mhm.
Um,
And she was, I believe, in her late 30s because they had been married for 20 something years and got married right
okay.
out of high school. So she was when
And it's
and like I
also,
said, she was very calm.
but I think it's also different too in like the type guy because there are some people that my husband is not like, he can't manipulate people. That's just not, he's not a sweet talker, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, and there are people that are like, one of my exes definitely was, and he could manipulate situations.
Yeah.
Um, but Wes is not that.
Yeah.
I probably abuse him and I shouldn't. Not physically, just emotionally. I mean, like I've just accepted it. But I feel like
We're thinking
oh
of US.
huh?
So we're thinking of US. Thoughts and prayers to
You
Wes.
probably should pray for him. Because the other day he said something mean to me, and I said, "You don't need to be mean to me." And he goes, "You're mean to me every day." And I was like, tough. Also, my aunt did tell me when we got married she was gonna pray for Wes
Yeah.
because I'm rough. But anyways, I just think like at this point in my life, I wouldn't have dealt with it. I would have moved out, went and got my divorce attorney, served some papers, and moved on. But I
Yeah.
do think depending on the type guy, and also like I'm
So you
financially
wouldn't
independent.
have engaged in the conversation. Like once you moved your stuff out, you would not have gone back with a recording device to engage in a
No,
conversation.
I'd have been like, talk to my attorney. Don't talk to me. Talk to my attorney. Like that's how I would have been. But that's how
Yeah.
I just feel like it's different too because like also I have my own career. I'm financially independent. I don't need anybody to help me. And I'm
Right.
not saying, like, I guess I don't want to sound like I'm like some. I get how women stay in abusive situations. I
Right.
get how women deal with things because they don't have the finances and their husbands have taken advantage of them. So, like, I
Or
don't
they're
want to sound like I don't understand
yeah.
that. I completely do. I'm just in a situation I don't got to worry about it. So I'd be like, peace
Yeah.
and move on and be like, give me child support.
I think I actually would have handled it exactly like she did. I think I would have removed all my stuff when he was gone and then had my kids not there and then dove into the conversation. I think I would have had the conversation. I probably would have already had a lawyer as well. I probably would have had that before. But I think I would have did like she did and try to sit down and have a conversation about how to work out the kids and stuff to try to get on the same page and moving forward. I wouldn't have dealt with the gaslighting though. I would have been like, if you continue to gaslight me, I'm walking out and we will deal with this with my lawyer. I am here to let you know why I'm leaving and I'm here to sort out what we want to do for the kids in the interim while we finalize things. But if you're going to sit here and this, why don't you love me and do all this stuff when you're the one that had an affair and had kids, I'm walking out that door and leaving. And like I said, he was choking her and bringing her back in. Eventually he did let her, but I just would have sat there and stayed quiet. Again, there's two topics. If you have questions on why I'm leaving, I'll answer them, even though I've just answered them. And I will talk to you about interim custody of the kids, how you want to work that out. But that I would just draw a hard boundary on what my purpose there was.
See, I don't think I could do that because he'd start to piss me off and I'd say more. So I think the best thing for me would be not to go back and say, talk to my attorney. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm going to tell a lot of you people that that is the best advice you can get in a lot of cases is don't go and poke a flame. Like, don't start something. go through your attorneys. Now, I will say
Right.
there are times where I had a case and it was two little old men and they were bickering about some issues. And literally, when both attorneys got out the room, they worked it out amongst themselves. That
Oh,
is rare.
yeah.
Most of the time,
Right.
you're just going to make things worse or say, I've had so many times people go back and forth and then they say something to make things worse.
Hmm.
And I get though, you've got to co-parent, you've got to do this, but at the start, there's so many emotions. I don't know if it's the best thing to talk to each other, right? Especially when there's little kids involved, because like
Yeah.
I don't know, not I mean,
Well, that's like, Corey, when he separated with Randy, they worked everything out and they really always have. I mean, they week on, week off. And whenever Corey like has a vacation or trip planned, if it falls within her days, they'll just like flip days or switch out days here and there to make things as even as possible. Um, and
but
they
in that situation, he didn't cheat on her, right?
No, no, there was no cheating. There was nothing. I just think I don't think they were just compatible, in life.
And I
This is
think
my opinion. If they listen to this is my
And I think
outside
that for me,
observation.
that makes a huge difference too. Like the fact that two people can just say, I still love you, but this isn't working out.
Yeah.
And you're both on the same page.
I,
That's a completely different discussion.
yeah. I don't even think they really loved each other. I think they just really loved their daughter and they really wanted to try, like, to me it's like they stayed together for her because Corey is now married and that is a love. That is a love. Like he just deeply loves her and always has, I think, in the back of his mind, because they dated before. And no, he never did anything when he was with Corey's mom, and he wouldn't. He's just not that person. But I just think his wife now is just always his person, and they're so compatible. They just have very um, the same way of life and how they want to do things and stuff. So I definitely think everything worked out for the best. And, her mom is married and it seems like they are also compatible and stuff. But regardless, was always worried me is I think they should have put what they do in writing, the minimum at least in writing, and have a judge sign off on it. Because what I always worried about is, Ashley's from Charlotte. I think, Corey's mom's husband is from another county. And so I grew up watching Teen Mom, and I'll never forget Kale. She shared a son with Joe and they worked out custody. And then she fell in love with somebody who was in the service and he got stationed in Delaware. And so she's like, oh, well, I'm now married. My husband's going to Delaware, so I'm leaving. And there was nothing in writing. That always made me worry. So I always wanted them to just get it, since they're on the same page with everything, just put that in writing so you don't ever have to worry about it. But they've always been able to do what they need to. And at this point, I mean, she'll be 10, I think, in July, maybe 11. 11. So I guess what's the point now?
Even if you put things in writing, family court is so change of circumstance. And in a situation like, yeah, when your new spouse is in the army and is stationed in Delaware, you can't really do anything about that. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. It's always hard, but I would say I definitely think everybody's different changes in life and circumstances impact these conversations. And I also think if you have good support system, like obviously if something happened with Wes, my mom and dad, I'm close to them. Like I'm gonna be honest, if something happened to me and Wes, he ain't got nobody. I feel too bad.
You can't leave him.
I can't. He has so just so I know, my husband has no family. Like his dad,
Yeah.
piece of crap, died. His mom, who was wonderful to him, babied him too much, died almost 2.5 years ago now. He's an only child. So
Yeah.
he has cousins and stuff, but nobody that's like
That's
I
why
don't
he
know.
pits up with your mean ass, because he ain't got nowhere to go.
I mean, sometimes he probably because I looked at him and I was like, if something happened to me, who's gonna be your family? And he was like, your family? So I mean, like I do feel sorry for him because like
Yeah.
when I am mean to him, who's he supposed to go tell? But even when I was
You can
mean to him,
call me. I'll be
well,
like,
like
yeah, I know.
see, His mama was always on my side though, so like he didn't have support then either.
My mom always takes Mark's side too. She'll be like saying something. She'll like tell her, Mark, and I'm like, "You're my mother."
Yeah.
It's on my nerves. It bothers
So
me.
my mom worried when I went and got a dog and didn't tell anybody I was getting said dog. And then I showed back home up with the dog that my husband was going to be mad at me. And she was like, please stop doing things to piss your husband off. But he loves the dogs. You have to have two. Like, you can't just have one dog. Every dog needs a friend.
I agree. The relationship that Gracie and Chipper had, I'll always agree with that. I mean, Gracie just hasn't even been the same without him. She misses her best friend. I mean, we didn't see this dementia signs until he left.
Well, we also we have cats in our office now.
I saw
we
that.
have cats, and they were a bonded pair because their owner died. So we now have 2 office cats because we couldn't get just one because it'd be lonely when we weren't here. It needed a friend. So now I have a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old cat in my office. And I know I've already gotten attached to these little things. And so when something, I hate I adopted old cats, but we knew we had to give them a home. But when something happens, I'm going to be a mess. And we're probably going to have to shut this whole office down.
Well,
except my downstairs people, they don't care about animals. They can keep running the office.
Yeah. You'll just need to close your door for a little bit.
Oh, no. Me, Jill, and Rosanna will just be in mourning.
Right. Okay. Well, stay tuned to see what happens with Lauren's office cats, and everybody pray for Wes. But that's our episode. And it kind of gaslighting us throughout because I feel like Susan Smith tried to gaslight everybody, and I think she still is. She still is. She's trying to gaslight with this parole. So it all comes full circle. But if y'all want to check out that podcast, like I said, it's Crime Junkie. I can't remember who the business partner name was, but it's just the episode right before Laura Sweetman, and then right after that is the extra where they did a bonus episode with that audio. So check it out. If you have other examples of gaslighting, let us know.
And for upcoming episodes, Wendy, that is our producer, me and her went and saw Teresa. I don't know how to say her last name. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But we went and saw her. Wendy has a ghost in her house, which we talked about before. So I was really hoping we would learn more about that. But we're going to talk about that. And then also, Lacey has watched it, and I'm finishing it up. Some more about the
Samuel Bateman, False Prophet. It's on Netflix.
Yes, so watch that so you can join us in talking about it.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
How do we?
She is off. How do we end it? I'm uploaded, so I think I can just leave. Are you uploaded?
99%. It never goes to 100 until I end.
I think we just leave and she'll deal with it and end it.
Yeah, when I record my own stuff, it shows end recording, but when she starts it,
I don't think we can because she's the host.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll just leave. Bye.